I'm not sure if I told this story before, but I just remembered this time an Uber driver tried to convince me, a black person, that slavery should still exist. And not only that, that child labor should 100% happen. She kept being like, "Do you really think that with modern technology we could build another pyramid?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely. I don't see why. Like, we have everything we need to make things like the Salesforce Tower or big skyscrapers or the Statue of Liberty. Like, if anything, it probably could be a lot easier because it's like we have all these like big machineries and devices and stuff. It could probably be great. But at the same time, I don't need another. Like, we already have plenty of pyramids. And even then, I don't know anyone who gives a shit about them. And on top of that, why the fuck would I want to sacrifice thousands upon thousands or millions of lives just for what? A tall, pointy thing in the sky? Hate to break it to you, skyscrapers exist already. We don't need another pyramid. I don't want people to die to make another fucking triangle that people will just look at. And then she kept trying to convince me, kept trying to convince me. She was like, "No, no, 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 no. We absolutely need humans. It would have not been possible if we had not enslaved people. And we need to bring that back." I was like, "It still exists in plenty of other countries, number one. I'm sure you know this, though. Like, I don't remember if she was Indian or Middle Eastern, but it's like, yeah, it's like, I'm pretty sure, like, I've heard fucked up shit. I'm pretty sure you, of all people, know that slavery didn't end, but it's like, we don't want that shit in America. We kind of already got it in America. We got Amazon, you know? And also, bitch, like I said, why would I give a fucking, like, I don't need another, we have enough skyscrapers. We have enough pointy objects. We have enough weird shit. We don't need a useless fucking pyramid to stretch into the sky for no fucking reason, and we certainly don't need to sacrifice and ruin the lives of many indentured servants or slaves to do so. And she would not shut the fuck up about it. But the wildest thing is, when she was talking about child labor, she was just like, should kids just like be at home mooching off their families, or should they, be put to work and then provide for the home? I said, well, children are the home. Yes, I think it's like the adults should work jobs to provide for their children. The children didn't ask to be made at all. I don't think that it's like we should force kids to work. Like, I think like I'm perfectly okay with the kids staying at home, watching cartoons, drawing, and not realizing how fucked up life is until later in life. I'm fine with that. Like, I'll put it to you like this. If your home is already fucked up enough where you aren't supporting you and your wife and your kid, and your solution is, damn, I should force this child who didn't want to be here, who I birthed with the hope of like providing for them, I'm gonna make them provide for themselves. How dare that selfish asshole want me, their nurturer and caretaker, to take care of them? What a fucking mooch. Like, no, it's like your kid should be outside playing Foursquare and and having fun with their friends and enjoying optimism. Why would you actually crave that kids suffer? And like, no, it's like, I don't care. They don't need to be working. Like, why would you bring a kid on this planet if you can't provide for it? It's your child. But then even then you're like, hey, I could treat my kid as an extra like side hustle, some disposable income. That's because it's like, what are you going to do if your kid doesn't pay rent? You're going to kick him out? And it was a really weird conversation. She kept trying to convince me. And it's like, bitch, I don't know how to break it to you. I'd rather a kid be at home watching Nickelodeon than working in the fucking mines. I'd rather a kid be at home playing Minecraft than in the mines. I'd rather a kid, like, not be at KFC fucking taking bitches' orders. I'd rather a kid just be at home enjoying themselves. Like, that's just, come on now. Even when I see kids who are born into, like, certain families where they have to, like, work around a restaurant or do this and do that and then also get good grades, I just think that's fucking stupid. You should not be, like, no. No, bitch. You should have kept your fucking legs closed and probably hustled a bit more. You shouldn't just be relying on your fucking kid to like subsidize your lifestyle because you're too stingy to pay another worker. Like, I don't know. Man, it's like, it's just selfish to me. I remember though, it was a long ass car ride and she also didn't want to move off the topic, so I'm not mistaking her opinions whatsoever because it was an hour and a half long car ride, potentially 2 hours, because there was heavy fucking traffic and I was just stuck there with this woman from another country who wanted to convince me, an American, Nothing's wrong with her being from another country, by the way. Everything's wrong with being an American. I say that as a joke, but also no, we've seen how the politics and shit are out here. She would not stop trying to convince me that we really should get back in the habit of enslaving people. Like, in that people who do crimes or people who we just don't like should be like, we need another period. We need another this. We need another the Sphinx. It's like, I hate to break it to you. I think we could just really use some AI design programs and just stencil that shit out. And then, like, really, you don't need to enslave people to do that at all. You could just, like, get a permit and post on Meetup, like, hey, everybody, let's stack blocks and see how high in the sky we can get. I have the construction permits. People will do that for free if they're really fucking bored. Like, you don't have to enslave people for it. I remember I got to my ex's place and I told him about it, and he kind of rolled his eyes because he was in disbelief. It's like, yeah, I'm sure she was talking about slavery to me. It's like, she was talking about slavery. She was talking about how you should put kids to fucking work, how kids need to be out there drilling, and like, what? And then, funny enough, like maybe a week later or so, in an entirely different city, I called a Lyft ride. Guess who I got picked up by? This bitch. And then she's like, oh, yeah, I remember you. You're the one with the opinions. Bitch, you sat me in a car with you for 2 fucking hours and nonstop told me fucked up shit. And then I had the opinion that it's like, hey, maybe we don't need like fucking 7-year-olds dying in the fucking mines because someone wants a sparkly necklace and a gemstone, you know? And that maybe, like, we don't need useless structures of power to make useless structures in person that symbolize how much power one has over the other. We don't need that, ma'am. Like, cool shit is made all the time without slavery. Some shit is made with slavery, and that's tragic, like iPhones, but guess what? I'm not against that. You really want me to sit there as a black person and be like, you know what? I do think that personally, these children in Africa really, really, really should be like mining for cobalt and being forced at gunpoint to like make our phones and devices for pennies a day. Maybe that's good, actually. Maybe that's good for innovation. I'm not gonna do that. I also remember I had a date with a dude like last winter. It was awful in a bunch of ways, but I do remember he talked about Blood Meridian in a very missing the point way. And then when the topic about Palestine and Israel came up, he was just like, ooh, well, personally, innovation is always spawned from a genocide. That's how colonialism worked. So good will always come from this. It's like, that's fucked up. We're having babies get beheaded. And women's, like, dead women's lingerie is getting flaunted on IG lives of fucking IDF soldiers. So, like, no thank you. Like, it's like, what? It's like, oh, cool. Israel now gets to be a bit bigger and have a new fucking resort to gamble your money at. And a new movie theater to watch the fucking Beyonce Renaissance Act 2 at. I don't like, bitch. And then the date was extra funny with this man because the date he took me casually after he told me about the overall joys and wins of colonialism and about how he wants to read Blood Meridian, and he acted like I was an SWJ for saying, yes, it's a very intriguing story about the fucked up, like, this and that. He was just like, yeah, it's like rolling his eyes type, yeah. It's like, sir, like, he talked about Blood Meridian in the sense of like, oh, it's a great story about America's power. It's like, oh, you're one of those dudes. Ugh. He also was the type of guy to be like, oh, yeah, I personally hate working from home. Like, I think people should stop working from home. And his job was a real estate person. And he said that basically because more people are working from home and not renting his office spaces and stuff, like now instead of being able to take like 600 vacations a year, he can only take like 60. Oh, you're so oppressed. That's basically slavery, dude. Shut the fuck up. It's like, oh yes, people should be forced to work in like fuck, like what if just, oh, I hate these people. It's like you just want to enslave other people, and like whether metaphorically or really, you want to confine people to shitty fucking HR and bullshit. Like, no, I don't think they should be stuck in a cubicle if they can get the same amount of work done or more at home, and then also not want to shoot themselves and kill themselves, you know? But as I was saying, funny enough, that same date, his weird ass, he took me to an exhibit which was about Mexican people's liberation and fighting back against colonialism. And I remember I was taking my time trying to look at everything, and he was just zooming through all the shit, not caring. And it's like, cause he, and Yeah. Anyway, as you can imagine, there was no second date. He also was the type of guy to be like, oh, yeah, so I have an open relationship because, some stuff in the past happened between me and my wife, and, she took a while to get over some things, and, I may have, and he was just being really vague in the sense where you could tell he just cheated on his fucking wife endlessly for years. And then he was like, but we worked, talked through it, she got over it, and we decided this was the best mutually beneficial decision for us. And I was like, oh, cool. So you cheated on your wife fucking endlessly. And then now you get to fuck other people because she's just trying to save her marriage. I asked him, I was like, oh, so does she get to see other people too? He's like, oh, she doesn't. Like, he acted like that was so, just like, would never happen. He was like, oh, no, she would never dream of doing that in her life. No, no, she respects me. Oh, so what you're saying is you were just cheating on your wife endlessly and now she just finally doesn't give a fuck. He also had a son the same age as me. I remember he sent me a rejection message after our date before I could beat him to the chase, but whatever. I was paid to go on that date anyway. Nothing sexual happened. He gave me $500. It was fucking awesome. I got $500 to just like be fucking just to exist around a man who really thought he could talk to me, someone who's black with Native American in him, about how colonialism is actually a good thing. And then I got to awkwardly shift around a museum with him, and he paid for my food and gave me money. Yay! But he rejected me. He was like, hi, actually, I don't think we're very compatible, but you're very beautiful. I hope you have a nice time. I just asked him, can I get your son's number? And he just said, ha, and then blocked me. But I'm kind of noticing a thing about, like, if I had to compare and contrast to these people, it's usually like a control thing with a whole lot of stupidity, because it's like, it's interesting to know that it's like, he likes the fact that he can control his wife and get her to do anything that he fucking wants her to do if it's convenient for him. The lady in the Uber, she wanted to be able to control kids and make them do anything she wanted for money, or to have slaves and make them do anything that she wanted, no matter how fucking stupid or frivolous. And it was like always a power and control thing. And I don't know, something about that rubs me the wrong way. Well, probably because it should. It's like these people are like, yeah, we're pro-slavery. We're pro-forcing people into the workforce to suffer more than they need to because I need to increase my revenue and profits so I can go to Cancun fucking 60 times a week instead of 60 times a year. It's overall just very disgusting. Power and control. Anyway, peace out.